Hey there, everybody, and you are listening to the inaugural episode of Halloween Talk right here on the Fandom City Network. I am your host, Shawn, and joining me this evening for the very first time, this is about as raw as it gets because I guess verbally or audibly, we've actually just spoken for the first time. Anything else has been via Twitter or Messenger, but she is the co-host here at Halloween Talk. Big-time Halloween fan. You might have seen her on Twitter. It's Hanna. How's it going?
What's up?
Not much. And again, apologies for the voice, everybody. You're probably wondering if you listen to some of the other shows, why does Sage sound like shit? Well, bad cold. Bad cold. That's what happens when you drive bus. You're in contact with a lot of germs, unfortunately. But that's enough of that. Let's dive right in to what this show is going to be about. We don't have a timeline for how often the show is going to happen. Picture Perfect World once a week, probably anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes in length, depending on the news and what drops. And obviously, 6 or 7 months from now, when we maybe get our first teaser of the movie, that'll be a big review, and the trailer will drop, and that'll be a review too. And I'm assuming we'll see more open sets with this movie, like in the last movie, so photos will start circulating. We'll be covering all that good stuff, but we're not just gonna keep up with what's going on with Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends because, as we know, Halloween Kills is now in production. They'll take about a few week break once they're done, and then fire right back up for Halloween Ends, which is a smart way to do things. A lot of movie franchises have done that in the past. So we're going to cover that stuff, but we're also going to take a deep dive into past Halloween movies. Maybe it's the novels, maybe it's the movies, maybe it's the comics. But there's a lot of Michael Myers, John Carpenter, Halloween type material to cover and do fun little countdowns as well. Like we have a countdown to end the show tonight, which is our 5 favorite Halloween movies. Hanna and I are going to take some time asking each other Halloween-related questions each episode, and we are also going to answer fan questions as well. We have a few for this week to answer. So we're going to be doing all that good stuff and reporting on whatever news and or rumors there might be. But I'm going to throw you a softball first, Hanna. How did you first get into Halloween? Like, what attracted you to it, and why do you love it so much?
Well, I think it was because it was the first ever horror movie I've seen, but the first Halloween movie I've ever seen was the H2O. I don't remember how I came across the first one, but the H211, that I guess is just the mask that made me, it intrigued me so much as a kid. And he gave me nightmares, so how can you not love him?
I So the first Halloween movie I ever seen clips from was H2O. I remember it was a family trip. We were out at a friend of my mother's, and it came on in the afternoon, and I started watching it, and I picked up right at the scene where he's letting himself down with the one arm from the pipe behind Lori, and I was pretty spooked. And then my cousin really got me into the rest of them. I remember it was my birthday one year. I want to say I was 12 or 13, and I had a
Yeah.
bunch of my friends over, and he brought over Halloween, the original Halloween, 1978, Halloween 2, and Halloween 4. Now, at that time, I didn't understand why we were going 1, 2, 4. I knew nothing about Halloween, and it was a wild night. We watched all 3 movies. I mean, you're in a room full of friends, so you're not that scared. But I do remember, like for the next month or two, I didn't want to sleep without the TV on in my room, so it
Yeah, and
spooked me.
definitely, the closet scene in 78, being a kid, if you watch that, that's like you're scared of the closet because you think of the monster being in there.
There was this. We had this hallway that was outside of my room growing up, and this is right after seeing it for the first time. And there was like this shadow on the wall, just from different items in the house. And whenever you'd have a light on in another room, I'm trying to sleep. but the shadow almost looked like a silhouette of Michael's mask, and it creeped me out so bad. It was definitely something else. Um, so Halloween returned to theaters last year for the first time in 9 years, I believe it would have been. I had the opportunity
Yeah.
to go see it at the Toronto International Film Festival. It was an incredible experience. How geared up were you to see Halloween 2018?
Well, I was, pretty geared up, but something happened where I couldn't see it in theaters. But, that didn't stop my excitement for, not seeing it on DVD for the first time. Sadly for me, it's already been spoiled by other fans because, of course, you go on social media and you
Mm-hmm.
see people talking about it, and it's hard to avoid all that.
Oh, it's extremely
But
hard to avoid that. I remember when
that's how I got to seeing it.
we were covering it, and we kept having like comments on our videos. Just release the spoilers, and it's like, no, we're gonna slowly lead up with non-spoiler reviews of the movie, and then we'll have a spoiler review, but there'll be plenty of warning for. We're not just gonna drop all the spoilers now, and some people don't understand that. So that's the nature of the
Yeah.
business, I think, though.
Yeah, and that last, the one that came out last year, it was like, really like, hyped up. So of course, I did expect fans to start really talking about it after, they seen it. So it didn't really shock me that fans started really talking about what they liked about it, what they didn't, what the ending was about. Because, it's really hard to keep quiet. You've been keeping quiet about it like for, I think they're working on it for 2 years, I guess. I think it was like a 2-year project.
Yeah, in terms
So,
of when they started, I mean, I had, pardon me, I had fairly high hopes for the movie, just
yeah.
because, I mean, look, not everybody's pro Blumhouse. Some people don't like some of the things Blumhouse does, but when you're talking from a success standpoint on being able to make movies
Hmm.
and yeah, no, but make movies for very low budget and be able to make a ton of money off them. Nobody does it better than Blumhouse. So, I had some confidence in their ability to do this justice, especially coming off of Rob Zombie's movies, which, if you love them, great. I don't really like them at all, to be honest. Although I kind of look at the second one Zombie did as more of a parody than an actual movie, and definitely have some fun with it.
Hmm.
Um, but still, when that's your last taste for 9 years, and they tried two or three other times to get a Halloween movie up through various production companies, and it just didn't happen. My first
Yeah,
thought
like I
was,
think
go
was
ahead.
like Halloween 3D and then Halloween Returns.
Yeah,
And I really thought they were going to do the Halloween Returns. I really thought that. And then, of course, Blumhouse did their Halloween and they called it Halloween. I remember fans thinking, why can they not call it Halloween Returns? But I guess that'd be like a copyright of what another script was. So I
it
guess they
could
couldn't do
be.
it.
I'm not entirely sure what the legal parameters behind that would be, but it is what it is. I really thought they were going to add a tagline to it. I'm not a big fan of the fact that it's just called Halloween when it's actually the second one in this timeline. I liked
Yeah,
when they
yeah,
had the tagline "Face Your Fate." I thought, okay, that's how I'm going to identify this movie: Halloween, Face Your Fate. But they didn't end up keeping it, and like I'm looking at my TIFF poster right now, and it's just Halloween, October 19th, 2018, and you know it would have been nice if they added something to it. I get that they didn't want to call it Halloween 2 to create confusion, and while it is a sequel, it's also a soft reboot, I would say. But it really needed some other line there, even if it was just, "Hey, this is Halloween 2018," which, in my opinion, is how most people refer to the movie as.
yeah. Yeah, same way.
So let's. I'm just looking at my notes here, trying to see where we are. I had fan questions at the end of the show. We're actually going to do the fan questions now and get them out of the way. And so the first question is how much longer do I have to wait to see it? Well, it's September now, so you're looking at actually this week you're looking at 13 months from this week. So
Hmm.
it's a long way out, but when you think about it, you're gonna get two Halloween movies in the next 25 months, and that's pretty cool. Because when's the last time we got that?
Um, Probably
Never. I
since
don't.
four and five.
Yes. Sorry, 4 and 5. Yes, they came out a year apart, and I loved 4 and didn't have much positive to say about 5. Will
Same.
Tommy and Lindsay still be close to Lori? I'll let you answer this one first.
Well, I I don't think so, considering she didn't really mention them in the 18 one. I think to me I think they'll like recognize her and she'll recognize them, but it's not gonna be like Laura's gonna try to protect them like she is with her family.
Yeah, I don't
That's
think
just
they're
how
gonna
I
be.
feel about it.
I don't think they're gonna be close by any means. I think too much time has passed. But and to be honest, I don't even really know which direction they're going with this movie at the moment. Just because there are a lot of old, I don't want to say Halloween actors, but Halloween characters popping up for this movie. Dare I say we're starting to get to the maybe there's too many. Um, you don't want it to seem like some corny reunion movie. At the same time, I'm all for seeing Tommy and Lindsay again. I mean, who doesn't want to see them? But I suspect it'll be more of if it happens on the same night, which my current bet is I think it happens on the same night as the last movie, and then
Hmm.
the third movie will have a time jump. I have no inside information on that, so I'm not putting that out there. It's not like when we reported that Halloween was going to TIFF before most people did. No inside information. That's just conjecture on my behalf. It'd be
Yeah.
cool if they were close, but I think it'll be more of a it hits the news and they
Yeah,
say
or like, they go check up on her,
yeah.
like she's living with her daughter and her granddaughter in an apartment somewhere or a little house. And they go check up on her and make sure she's okay. I think that'll be a good way to introduce them to each other. Like, oh, we heard the news. Are you okay?
Did you have a chance to check out Dave McRae's concept video if he was making the sequel, how he would do it?
I honestly haven't,
It's
but I need to since you
yeah,
mentioned it.
yeah. It's about 2 hours long, and he has sound effects in there. And I don't necessarily agree with everything Dave says all the time. I think Dave's awesome, but I liked what he did with most of his concept idea, and I like the idea that maybe not the whole movie would take place here, but at least the initial beginning of the movie might be at hospital, and it gets publicized on the news what's happened, and that's what leads some of these older characters back to Laurie is it's become public info what's happened. Because I mean, how could it not? I mean, Michael
Yeah.
caused a lot of
And
carnage in that.
I'll be honest with you. I think Lindsay and Tommy, I think they'll die. I think Michael will kill them in this new movie. I see it happening.
I don't see how they both could survive. I'll say that. Like you already had all three
Yeah,
of the
you
female.
can't have.
You can't have everyone keep living. Michael needs a win here, and with the next movie being called Halloween Kills, I'm expecting a pretty large body count, including.
Yeah, I mean,
Go ahead.
and I expect either Allison or Karen. I think that's her name, the mother, to
Yeah,
die. I think that'll really put Lori in a bad state if one of them two dies, knowing that she failed of trying to protect them, and that's how Michael can hurt her
I feel
emotionally.
I feel like Allison's safe, but I don't think Karen's safe, and I'm not even sure Laurie's safe. I think people are just jumping to conclusions, assuming Laurie's going to be in the third movie, and I'm
Yeah.
not so sure.
I think what people get by her being in the third movie, I guess because she's advertised that, Kills and Ends is coming out, and I guess people think, oh yeah, definitely gonna be in the Ends one. Which it would not shock me if she is.
No, I wouldn't be shocked, but I wouldn't blame them for going the route of killing her once and for all, and making Allison the main protagonist in the final movie. But who knows? We'll take a couple more of
Yeah,
these
or like
questions. Oh, go ahead.
like if Lori's gonna die, I can see her like sacrificing herself to save her granddaughter. That's how
Yeah.
I see it. Just sacrificing so
Yeah.
Allison can have time to run, hide.
That makes a lot of sense to me. We have a will Michael talk? My answer for that is
Are you kidding me?
I hope not.
Yeah, I think he is gonna talk. I think he's gonna go up to a drive-through and order a cheeseburger at Burger King.
Oh man. No, what we're gonna see is the movie is gonna switch from Halloween to November 1st, and we're gonna follow Michael and what he really does now, and it's his job as a Walmart greeter, and we'll see Michael, aka James Duke Courtney, greeting everybody at the door. Uh, so,
He works at Walmart,
oh man.
a manager, just
Oh, a manager too. Oh wow, wouldn't want to be pissing off that manager. That's for damn sure. Final question: how does Michael survive the fire? So I have two answers to this. One, he's Michael Myers. That's the only explanation you ever really need. He's the shape, the boogeyman.
yeah,
But two, I've always thought when they do that flashback of Karen as a kid, that we see her run out of that basement into the yard as if there's an escape route down there somewhere. But then part of me is like, they've gone through all that work for years to set the trap. It's hard to imagine they would, leave an escape route in the basement. Um, I seen theories where someone said he breaks into the where all the guns were stored and closes it up and survives the fire that way. Everything would burn down around them, but the guns would be protected. Um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure we're gonna
yeah.
get an answer, to be honest. I think it's as simple as he's the shape, he's the boogeyman, and we're not necessarily supposed to know how. What do you think, Hannah?
My thing is, those bars that, she shut on him,
Yep.
like where the stairs was. I think he had the strength just to push through or like kind of like bend him, and he just kind of climbed out
Yeah, that
and
would
just
work
kind of
too.
walked out the house.
I will say this: one of the things I'm curious about is we've never really known Michael to have any physical aspects of his body that stand out. I mean, in the 4, 5, 6 trilogy, we see him burnt. Obviously, he's got some burns from the explosion at the end of Halloween 2. But I mean, in
Yeah.
these next two movies, we're gonna see him missing 2 fingers, and I don't suspect they're gonna be nicely bandaged either. I think we're gonna see some gruesome stuff with that.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. I always wondering since they shot his fingers off, how is he going to, really kill, by choking, or is he going to use one hand to choke?
I think
Like,
we're gonna see some sort of. We're gonna get at least one kill that's incorporated with the missing fingers. Maybe he
yeah,
jabs his fingers through someone's eyeballs or something like that.
yeah.
Uh, so Halloween Kills has begun filming now. Are you at the point where you're like dying to see every update they put out and you just can't get enough of it, or are you trying to remain semi spoiler free?
I'm trying to remain, spoiler free because I don't want it to be ruined for me. Because, the 18 one was such a big hype, and I'm trying like, okay, I don't hype this up and get my hopes up, and I see it, and I'm like, oh, well, that movie that was kind of disappointing because that did not meet my expectations what I thought it was going to be.
Right.
So that's the moment I'm trying not to, tweet about too much about him or, talk about him as much because, people really start, telling me things. I'm like, oh, no.
Yes, I will say anything spoiler
But I'll,
wise
I'll
that
kind of
we
see.
any spoiler information that we get here because Hannah wants to say spoiler free. I will cover that alone. That way she is not spoiled anything. The last thing we want to do is spoil anything for someone who doesn't want it spoiled.
Now the mask, I'm kind of iffy on that one. I'm not sure if I want to see it, in the poster, if I want to wait. I think it'd be great going into the movie not knowing what the mask's going to look like, and just because he got burnt, so I'm sure he'll look different or
I
scarier
Yeah, I was gonna say
in a way.
I'd be curious to see if he ends up finding a whole new mask. I mean, obviously in the Michael Myers vein. I don't think it's gonna happen though. I think we're gonna
If
see what he
they're
wore in the last mask, and it's gonna be, you might see half of it
they're
burnt,
gonna
and
bring out the Halloween 5 mask.
oh god, I hope not. Oh man, that's probably my least favorite Michael Myers mask. I know we're supposed to believe that that's the mask for him because he fell in the water. That's what it turned into. But like, no, just no.
Mm-mm.
I'll be curious to what they do because remember he has the hole in the mask now because Laurie shot him. Sorry, Karen shot him. And I think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be Rob Zombie like torn apart, but I do
Yeah,
think it's gonna be. It's gonna have some
I
burn
think
marks
like
on it and maybe some missing hair in areas.
I think what's gonna be you're not gonna like see his face, but you're kind of like gonna see like probably some like you said burnt marks, but like a lot of red like dry blood. So you really
Yeah,
don't know if it's James, which we all know will be James under that mask.
yeah.
I mean, we know what he looks like, so
I'll be curious to see how under wraps they try to keep the mask. Obviously, it's an important part of the movie. They kept it under wraps real good in the last one, right up until they released the poster. The only real decent picture we got, and it was hardly decent, was a shot of him where he's walking down the street, the tracking shot. But it was from a distance. But that shot blown
hmm
up and edited a little bit was what started to give people the idea before they'd even announced it was the original mask again, or at least their take on it. Is that shot blown up started to give people hope just from the shape of it, pardon the pun, that it might be the original mask because it sort of looked like it, but we didn't know because we didn't have a high quality image.
yeah. And I think last year Nick Castle even posted a photo of him on set, and he had to blur out something in the background, and he said, he can't show the mask at all, so he has to blur it out. And I was like, man, come on.
Speaking of Nick
Also,
Castle,
his somebody will slip.
that's a good transitioning point. Good segue here. Nick Castle looks like he's in much better shape. I mean, hey, I don't knock anyone who is older and is in not the greatest shape, but Nick clearly looks like he's dropped a few lbs, but just looks healthier too. And I can't help but want. I mean, make no mistake, James is at the driver's seat. This is his role, but I can't help but wonder if they
Yeah.
want Nick to do a little more in this movie. What's your take on that?
Well, considering, because I looked it up, considering that Nick is like 5'10 and James is like 6'3,
Mm-hmm.
I'll love to see Nick do some things, but the camera angle will have to work where we cannot even notice a difference with the height.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Like, man, Michael sure looks shorter,
It's got to
but then
be
again, he can
permitting
really,
shots.
yeah. They can do a close up of him, but it have to be like where it's kind of like waist down, like a hand to the waist, where you don't actually see like his legs. I don't know how they'll do that because I don't do movies, but I do hope to see him do more scenes because honestly, I was kind of disappointed in 18 that he's only in that one shot because I was like, oh, that's it.
Yeah, I also heard he. I don't know how true it is, but rumors got out that he might have taken a fall and hurt himself right before filming. So I don't know if they intended to do more with him than that, but
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. Let's move this thing on again. Um, and we are at. Sorry, I've lost myself in my notes here. Um, there are a lot of old characters returning in this movie. A lot. We have. I was going to say Jamie, but no, we don't have Jamie. We have Lindsay.
Darn.
We have Tommy. There's been
Lonnie.
rumors about Brackett returning, and we have Lonnie as well. Um, do you have a general feel what direction they might be heading with this? Because It does seem like a lot of old characters to bring back in one film that's supposed to take
Yeah,
place 40 plus years later.
I mean, I can understand Brackett coming back because, of course, what was that cop's name? Uh, that died in 18. Oh, what's his name?
Oh man, I know
Uh,
the actor. The actor is great. His name
Will
is
Patton. Yeah, his character.
yeah. Will Patton is
Hawkins.
fantastic. Hawkins, that's it.
Offers Hawkins. I know I get it. Well, I think, with Brackett coming back, he's going to help Lori find this killer, knowing that he killed his daughter. Will be like 41 years. No, it'll still be 40 years if they do it the same night.
Hmm.
If they do a 1 year time jump, it will be 41 years. No, wait, 42. Wait, for,
It'd be 41 if it's a 1 year time
I
jump.
should say 40 years. I was
It's in and
41.
around there, right?
Yeah,
So
but if I understand Tommy and Lindsay coming back because of course they really didn't get attacked by him, so I don't see them like being paranoid. Like he never touched them. I'd be like, okay, really?
yeah,
But Lonnie to come back, I'm kind of like, really? There's no need for him to be back. I mean, he was just a character that went up to his house, and of course, Dr. Loomis said that famous line that everybody loves,
I'm
and that's only it.
I'm assuming it might have something to do with Cameron, because I believe Lonnie is Cameron's dad, and
Oh
Cameron
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Cameron
yeah.
didn't die in the
I
last
forgot.
movie. So
Sadly.
I was gonna say he probably should have, but somehow he didn't. Um, Last question I have for you here. Actually, no, because that's my actual question for you. So yes, we've moved into the question of the week segment now, everybody. Where Hannah will ask one Halloween-related question towards me. I will ask one Halloween-related question towards her, and we will answer them. And we'll see how long we can keep this up for. I think we can come up with one question a week, though. That's not too much hard work. I'll let you bat lead off here, though, and go first. As
Mm,
in, ask the question first.
okay. So who's in? Right.
I think we're having some audio issues. 1 second here. Um, all right, the levels look good now. Let's give her another shot. Yeah, it's your question first, so go ahead.
Okay. Who's your favorite Michael Myers actor besides Nick Castle and James Hugh Courtney? Since they're the best.
Oh man, that's tough. Um, I think it's a brutal movie. I think it's a brutal mask. Um, well, I mean, I do like Tyler Mane. I didn't like Rob Zombie's movies, but I liked Tyler Mane. He was a bigger Michael, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
probably more in the Jason vein. But I thought he was pretty cool as Michael and physically dominant. But if we were avoiding the zombie movies, I'd probably have to go with, I believe it's Brad Lorry from Resurrection. I thought Michael was intimidating in Resurrection physically. I thought the mask was ridiculous and the eyebrows was ridiculous. And I thought Mr. Trick or Treat Motherfucker was even more ridiculous. Um, but, I liked Brad Lorry.
Yeah, yeah. No, I kind of feel bad for him since he was in one of the worst Halloween movies ever made. If
No
I'm
doubt
being
about
honest,
that.
like Resurrection should be on the bottom of the list. But the way he performed, it was so good. And I hate it for him because he's in the worst one, but his performance was pretty on is pretty good.
No, I absolutely agree. So my question for you is, um, it relates to Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends, either or. Uh, do you think that Danny McBride, co-writer on the movie, very famous actor, does a lot of comedy stuff. And I know some people aren't high on some of the comedy bits that are in it, but I mean, I do think horror and comedy go together. They might have went a little too far in the last movie, but all in all, I still loved the movie. Um, do you think Danny McBride will enter himself into one of these movies? I'm glad they didn't for the first movie because it would have been distracting. But with
Uh,
two more to go, would do you think it's going to happen?
I mean, if it does, I don't right now. I don't see it happening. But because I haven't really thought about that. But if it did happen, I think he'll just be like one like a probably like an extra person to get killed. A random person. It won't shock me if he does something funny. But if he's gonna do something funny, I don't think it needs to be like during like a kill scene. I don't know,
Yeah, I wouldn't
because
want
you
him
don't
to
feel
have like
terror. You
a.
don't be laughing.
I wouldn't want him having a main role. He'd definitely have to be just some random dude.
Yeah, walking the street. Probably say like a funny line, just keep walking. But I was going to say him getting killed, then he cannot do no comedy at all because if we go back with Vicky being killed in 18, I'm rewatching them thinking, that kid should not have done that. It's not funny. She's getting murdered here. And I've heard like audiences were just laughing during that part.
Yeah, they were. I'm not gonna lie. I was at TIFF and they laughed, and then I seen it open at night and they did laugh there too. So I don't think it was really meant to be that, but it is what it is. We're in the final part of our show here, which is a top five countdown. We're gonna give our five favorite Halloween movies, and we're gonna start with number five for both of us. Hannah, what's your number five?
My number five will be Halloween 6.
Now,
You know, it,
what version? Because there's
the
two
the
drastically different versions of this movie.
definitely the theatrical cut version is my
The
favorite.
I was gonna say the theatrical cut's the one that ends with the needles and Michael's mask on the floor.
Yeah,
I believe. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. I
Less
think
of the
that.
cult stuff, I believe.
Yeah, that five was kind of like number five was like my hardest one to really choose because we have a few Halloween movies that are not so good. So once you start going to the bad ones, you're like, oh man, this is
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah. There's definitely
But I
some
do
shit
like the
shows in
mask.
there.
Yeah, I do like the mask. The
I actually
performance
have
of
the
Michael
mask
is really
sitting
good.
right next to me. It's the one Michael Myers mask I do own. It's the Halloween 6 mask.
Hey,
So,
and I didn't like the cult part of it, but it was a scary Halloween movie.
yes, it did invoke some fear. That's for sure. Where some of the Halloween movies maybe have fallen a little short on that. Like, I loved Halloween 2018, but at the end of the day, I had to sit there and say to myself, was this movie particularly scary? And I didn't think so, but I loved it for what it is and the characters and all that. My number
Yeah,
five, though, is Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, and I might take some heat for this one, but I think it's a really good movie with a really excellent story. They just made the dumb idea of thinking they could just cancel out on Michael Myers and go on making a bunch of different movies, and it
yeah.
wasn't received well, and yet the movie is really creepy and weird, and that's probably why I like it. That moves us on to number four. What do you have at four?
I had it for probably Halloween 18. It was good. I liked the mask. The storyline was okay, but was it scary? No. But, it's better than, 6.
And it's definitely better than Resurrection.
Resurrection's my number one. I'm kidding.
Oh God. Oh God, that would be problematic. I mean, all films subjective, but oh wow. My number four is Halloween 2, the original Halloween 2 from 1981. I like the movie. Laurie's not in the movie very much, to be honest. Um,
Yeah.
but it's
Mostly she's just quiet, like she don't hardly ever talk.
yeah. So I thought the hospital setting was scary because I thought that um, for me anyway, in my opinion, I thought that the hospital setting that's in that movie resembled the hospital in my city until they modernized it. And I just thought to myself, oh, that'd be weird being in Emerge one night and then everybody just sort of vanishes. That'd be scary.
Yep.
And I do think Halloween 2 does manage to be scary at times. What is your number three?
Yeah. Halloween 4. I mean, I love, opening up with the ambulance, and they put him in the ambulance, and the music starts playing on like he's back. Even though the mask is better than 5, I give it that. But I just love the story of Halloween 4. That's just why it's my number 3.
My number three, and I'm really going to take heat for this one, is the original Halloween from 1978. It's
How
a
dare
cult.
you?
It's a classic. I love it, and at the same time, I think the movie moves just a little too slow for my liking. Um, and I
Yeah, I
do think the
understand that.
movie's I think the movie's a little outdated now too.
Yeah.
But that said, considering they made that movie for kibbles and bits and how successful it was over time, it launched the slasher franchise more or less.
Yeah, I understand about being slow. And I think today's horror films like it's so fast paced, so when you watch 78, especially if you've seen it like so many times, you know what's gonna happen. You can, quote the lines. It gets old, but so I kinda understand where you're going with that.
Number two for you, what is it?
Well, it has to be H2O. I'm kidding. No, Halloween 2, the 81. I I just what I'm trying to say is like the storyline of it is scary. The mask, I think the mask looks better, more scarier than the first one, which I know it was the same mask,
Just
but
different.
of course, the actor,
Yeah,
yeah,
different.
heads wearing it.
Uh huh. Much in the same
It
way,
has one of
I
my,
found that when James Jude Courtney wears the mask, it resembles more of the H2 mask, in my opinion. Which, I mean, same mask, but the same
yeah,
shape style. And then when Nick Castle had it on,
hmm
it had more of that classic 1978 style look to it, just because of the shape.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and of course, Halloween 2 has some great kills, like the eye, needle in
oh,
the eye,
uh,
the hospital, the
the needle
bandage,
to the eye one.
just,
The needle
yeah,
to the eye
that's
one just
the
makes
way.
me cringe still.
Yeah, it's a very, unique kill, especially, she's standing there and, of course Michael's known to come out of the shadows. She sees white mask coming and like they're screwed. You just know it.
My number two is Halloween 2018 for all the reasons we've been talking about all episode. I don't really need to go into it more. The one thing I do think Halloween 2018 has better than the rest of the Halloween movies, though, is the soundtrack. I think it's the best score slash soundtrack we've ever heard in any horror movie.
Oh,
John
yes.
Carpenter, his son, and his son's friend there, just phenomenal. If you heard off the beginning of the show, we played in with a cover version of "The Shape Haunts Allison." That will be our
Love
intro
it.
going forward. Um, it, I just, if there's one collectible I haven't managed to get from Halloween 2018 yet that I want to get, is I'd like to get a one of the special edition vinyl records. Not to play it or anything, but just to have it like hung up somewhere. I think that'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And finally, last but not least, pardon me, it's time for your favorite Halloween movie. I think it's a given considering your list.
You know, it, this I had to do this number one because it started it all. It should not everybody's favorite, but it should be like, no one should actually hate this one. If they do, they need help. Halloween 78 is definitely my number one. That movie's what started it all. I still enjoy watching it. Does it scare me today? Nah, not really. But that's because I'm used to it. But the storyline's good. The mystery of him is good. The score is good. The ending is so good, not knowing where he is. It just still gives me chills till this day. So,
Yeah, I don't find the first one scary anymore, but when I first saw the first movie, yeah, I was scared shitless. No doubt
yeah.
about it.
I think, if I showed it to somebody who's never seen it, I think they'll get scared. And they'll be like, why are you not being scared? Like, well, this is probably my thousandth time watching this. So,
My favorite Halloween movie is I'd seen Halloween like in their entirety. I'd seen 1, 2, and 4 on the same night, and even though I'm not a fan of the Mask in 4, Halloween 4 is amazing. I love it. I
right.
love Dr. Loomis in that movie. He's
Oh, yeah.
incredible. Michael's incredible from start to finish. It's so fast paced. Like it's like the movie doesn't ever really slow down, and it's just one thing after another, and I love it. It's relentless. It's great. It's got a great soundtrack, and it was an awesome return to the Michael Myers side of the franchise. So Halloween 4 is definitely my favorite. That was our top 5 for this week, everybody. And if you hear the music playing in the background right now, that means it's time for us to wrap this thing up. This has been the inaugural episode of Halloween Talk. Hannah, thanks for doing this. I had a lot of fun. I can't wait to do it more. Where can everybody
Same here. Thank
find
you.
you and follow you on social media?
You can find me on Twitter. Mostly, you can just do a hashtag Michael Myers because I'm always like, talking about him most of the time. So you can mainly just find me on there. I would put my YouTube channel up, but at the moment I'm not doing any videos, just not right now. So y'all don't have to subscribe. I'm not even sure if I'm gonna keep that going because my life is really busy and it's hard, to do videos and like I said, I'm not gonna really talk much about the new movie as much because if I'm doing like a no spoiler and not keeping up with it, there's really nothing to really talk about.
Well, I mean, I'll accept that challenge. I think we'll have plenty of talk to talk about in the months to come without getting into the spoiler discussion. There'll also be plenty of older Halloween stuff to go back and review and discuss and do different fun fan related
Yeah,
events
like
with.
why Resurrection is the best Halloween movie out there.
Oh God, hey, look, I know the zombie movies have their fans. Uh, I,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I hate the movies. I hate what they did with Dr. Loomis, and yet Malcolm McDowell's like so over the top hilarious in Halloween 2. Like, I sell the sizzle, not the steak, or I said 2%. It's he like it. I literally think it's a parody, and I I could watch Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 over and over again just for Malcolm McDowell and how like I could watch the movie because of how bad it is.
Yeah.
So
And don't talk about it like, his wife being in there and that white horse. Yeah, no.
I remember my cousin and I seen that movie in theaters opening night, and the first 20 minutes where they're in the hospital, we're thinking, "Oh crap, this is fantastic! This is gonna be great!" And then it was all downhill from there. So you can check us out on YouTube. You might be listening to this on YouTube right now. But if you're not, check us out. It's Fandom City on YouTube. Hannah and I will be back with a new Halloween talk probably once every 7 to 10 days, depending on when news drops or anything else that we can discuss Halloween related. You can follow us on Twitter at Fandom City Pod. Same thing on Instagram. If you have Facebook, you can search us up at a couple of places. Fandom City, give us a like, or Halloween Kills 2020, another page that we have. Or you can find us on our exclusive Halloween Talk group, which is slowly building. We'll be doing more fan interactive stuff as our audience grows. Don't forget, if you're watching us on YouTube, click the subscribe button and the notification bell. Hannah, thanks for doing this tonight.
Thank you.
All right, and to everybody else listening, we will see you next time. The Boogeyman is coming.